Thank you. Moving on to the next one, our next speaker is Mr. Gokul Sorari. As a Regional Technical Manager, India West and South Region for 𝗘𝗱𝗶 India Private Limited, Gokul Sorari provides technical and engineering support for 𝗘𝗱𝗶 infrastructure solutions. He comes with more than 17 years of experience in the structured cabling industry. When his passion for computer technologies met the concept of network design, there was no looking back. Having worked with various government establishments and private enterprises in India and abroad, UAE and Qatar, Gokul has gained a vast knowledge of customer engagements, design and consultation of structured cabling solutions. So please put your hands together, everyone, for Mr. Gokul Sorari.
Good afternoon, everyone. I can't hear anything. Good afternoon, everyone. I think heavy lunch. Thank you so much for your attendance. So today, since morning, we are keep on hearing about AI, how it is going to help in our day-to-day life or professional life in various industries, right? So with the simple example, how AI is going to help, it is going to be more of conversation rather than dealing with tool. So that's where we see a lot of potential. But what happens since morning we are hearing about high-performing GPUs, etc. What if you have high-end equipment, but you don't have a robust infrastructure to connect those devices, right? So this is very crucial area where most of the time we don't look, but this is equally important if you are investing so much of money, time, getting into AI technology. It is equally important to have basic connectivity to be designed high performance level, right? So that's what I'm going to discuss today. Yes, if you see the market growth, especially in AI, so we are seeing a lot of growth, exponential growth, almost like 36% by 2030. That's where everybody is interested on. And we are also aligned with these technology, how we can support and how we need to design our infrastructure which can support these kind of technology, right? So we need to be equally aligned to these growth and vision what market is looking at. So everybody has the fair idea about the AI or generative AI. It could be a different looking at what AI means to me or what AI means to you, right? It depends on based on the use cases. In simple scenario, I have seen a lot of people putting their picture, AI-based picture, looking good. Depends, right? So that's how AI is going to change the thought process in the industry. It will help to boost the business, especially if I have a small business, if I have a restaurant, it will give me some kind of analytics. Okay, this is going more in these days, right? So that's how I can look in my database and see, okay, today if I do this, will it help to increase my business? So that's how AI is going to play a major role in every business. And if you see how the CPU and GPUs are comparatively, what CPU can give you a performance and what GPU can give you a performance, right? So there are thousands of cores inside GPU which gives you a parallel communication and it helps to boost the performance. And that's where we are seeing the lot of growth and the performance in the GPUs. And CPUs, it's going to be slightly flat. And that's where when we talk about AI, InfiniBand kind of network, AI-based technology, so GPU is the choice, right? So everybody is talking about GPUs, thousands of GPUs, 4,000, 10,000 of GPUs. That's where the approach is. And so these are the three basic reasons of AI growth. Any kind of industry, be it operating higher efficiency in the operational segment or new product introduction or healthcare, any business segment, it will really help to analyze the data, to predict and find out what could be the possible solution to this kind of challenges, right? So that's the area everybody is looking at. And if you see the market leader, a lot of cloud players who are investing in this AI technology, they are the first one who's investing. If you see the overall, from the overall investment, and if you see the green bars, these are the AI CapEx, right? If you see Microsoft, they have almost like 13% investment in the AI segment. So it means the companies are really focused on AI technology. So are we align ourselves along with this vision? So that's how we need to think. We need to change our approach. And there could be another way of occupying these kind of AIDC. Another thing is multi-tenant data center. That's the area where everybody is looking to have the white space which can support these kind of high cooling requirement, 40 kilowatt per rack, 60 kilowatts per rack, right? It is not easy to achieve that. Also, it is not easy to cool that. And when we say 40 kilowatt, the densification is very, very, very high. So another area, multi-tenant data centers are providing those kind of services where AI-based data center can be deployed. And these are the major players as of now in the industry who are working in terms of the GPUs, GPU as a service, AI cloud provider in the premises, in the MTDCs, and that's where everybody is focusing, how we can bring value in the market to come up with these kind of technology and how it can help to individual or the organization. From the government point of view, it is also important what government thought process is about these AI technology, because it can have both plus and minus impact, right? So it is always how government is thinking about. If you see the USA, they have already placed the law in place. If I specifically talk about India, so we are in progress of developing the law in terms of the AI, where in China they have already law in place. And if you see European country, they have already made the law on the fine if you have any kind of violation in the AI side, which can be limited risk, high risk, and unacceptable risk, right? So these measures are very important from the legal side, because any technology can be used in a different manner, right? So we need to protect that also. So that's where we are also we also think the government is also pushing a lot of things to make this happen in the country. So what challenges is going to bring? Because when you have high technology, then challenge comes along with that, right? So first of all, build and deploy the faster technology, since whenever any customer asks for the installation, they always ask, I need system up and running within 2 days, right? Do we have any kind of system where we can deploy very quickly, which can scale, which can assure you the performance? There is no degradation in the performance, right? So that's where we need to be aligned. And also when we say these kind of massive scale size data center, is our supply chain is equipped with those kind of drastic changes, drastic demands in the market, right? So we need to be along with the supply and demand. And also, it's not only about supply. Do we have local support or any kind of support available to support those kinds of challenges? And there are a lot of changes, because since we have high performance, there could be any kind of upgradation at any point of time. So are we ready for any kind of migration if I want to shift from 400 to 800 kind of requirement, right? So how we can minimize the downtime. This is very important when you upgrade or scale up from any speed to any speed, right? So, of course, by saying all these things, sustainability is also very important part. The previous speaker talked about it. So when we have this kind of complex GPUs, connectivity, how it is gonna impact on your backbone infrastructure or overall architecture of your data center, right? So that we need to understand, because you can't have one solution to fit any type of customer or any kind of data center. So if you see the cloud DC architecture, spine, leaf, or Tor switches, or your CPU servers. Now the change is, you have in AI DCs, you have front-end network, and now you have back-end network, which is mainly InfiniBand. And if that's what we say AI cluster, where you will have all the GPU fabrics and the back-end switches and the CPU server connecting front-end network as well as the back-end network. That's the major densification of the connectivity you will have. So now you can have multiple AI nodes in racks, right? So what happens is, when you have usually what we call is AI node or server node, which consists of eight numbers of GPUs per AI node, and you can cluster multiple AI node within the rack. So that's how the concept of GPU cluster is. And when you have multiple clusters, what we call is scalable unit. So this is the typical DGX H100 cluster. Usually we have 10 racks in the cluster, 2 racks for your spine and leaf switches, and then you have server node or AI node. Usually you have 31 server node or AI node in one cluster, which brings approximately 248 GPUs. So those numbers we are talking about, and you will have spine and leaf. And if we see, when we say 248 GPUs, what kind of densification we are talking about in the connectivity? We are talking about 304 MPO fiber assembly for in-band management, 317 plus copper connectivity, more than 2000 MPO ports for compute, plus 50 plus ports for storage, and more than 2700 connections, front end and back end connections, right? So this kind of density we are talking about only for one pod, which consists of 4 scalable unit, 4 clusters. So do you think our traditional approach of connecting these devices is going to help? The answer is no. So we need to be in line what thought processes, and are we aligned with this to achieve those kind of densification, right? So, and it's not going to decrease. So typically you have the backend connectivities, like, and we are talking about 400 gig ports and 800 gig ports. And you have copper ports, then you have 100 gig QSFP ports, right? So this kind of typical configuration you will have in any cluster. And the another interesting factor is we have usually UPC and APC type connector, right? So since we are talking about 400 and 800 gig kind of application and scalable to 1.6 terabit kind of application, your multimode APC connector is the choice in this kind of backend network, because when you have angle APC connector, then it helps in the performance. So even we have seen APC in single mode. Now, because of this complexity in the network, the multi-mode APC is also recommended to have in this kind of scenario. So when we are saying the backend network, we are talking always in 4 times. So 4 times network speed, 400 gig to 1.6 terabit, more fiber deployment in terms of the 4 numbers, and also more power consumption, right? So since morning we are hearing about the power capacity, power consumption. So that's where you need every set of segment to be high performing segment. So, and also when we are talking about 400 gig and 800 gig Ethernet port and InfiniBand, and also like there is a lot of debate going on whether Ethernet or InfiniBand, it is going to remain for some time, but there are a lot of players who are working for backend network on Ethernet also. Let's see how they come up with the overall solution. But right now, they focus more on the InfiniBand. What happens is, because since in MPO you have multiple options available, 8 fiber, 12 fiber, 24 fiber, 16 fiber. What would be the right choice to support these kind of application and have the seamless migration towards the 1.6 terabit, right? So what we see is when we have 2 into 400 gig kind of application, you have 8 fiber is the right choice, because if you use 12 fiber, you are going to lose 4 fibers in every connector, which means we are not going to add any value, we are going to lose and have the cost impact in the overall solution. And when you have 800 gig kind of ports, then the 16 MPO is the right choice, because your fiber consumption is 16 fiber. So that's where we need to have detailed discussion, deep dive in the design. So what would be the right choice of designing any kind of AI or backend InfiniBand network? And this is also very important factor when we are talking about 400, 800 and 1.6 terabit. What is the shift is happening? We have seen refresh used to happen every 5 years. Now it is happening every 3 years. What we are seeing and what data is saying that in coming years, refresh will happen either every year or every 2 years, right? So which means you cannot change your cabling infrastructure every 2 years. So because at changing active, you need to replace the devices, but changing cabling infrastructure, you have to revamp the whole DC, which is not possible. Logically, practically, it's not possible. So what we need to do is we need to design a data center backbone connectivity to see if I do refresh after 1 year, whether my same system will support, or by doing the minor changes, can it be support for next level of speed? The answer is yes. Because every time you don't need to rip and replace the complete cabling infrastructure, you just need to change the few component and go for the next level, right? And it is important that to have multi level of migration has to happen in the same cabling infrastructure. So this is the, and at the same time, when we do any kind of migration, what kind of downtime we are looking at? Are we looking at 1 day downtime, or are we looking at 1 hour downtime, right? So because if you have downtime, you have business loss. So you can't have downtime with huge time, and then it will have the definitely impact on your overall business growth. And let's see how we are, as CommScope, we are supporting these kind of complex network, and how we are thinking to align ourselves with these technologies. So first of all, the network is shifting from duplex to parallel, and parallel to also 400 and 800, 8 and 16 fiber connector, right? So, and then we have higher fiber count. Since we are talking about lot on sustainability, right? The more I use high fiber count, I'll be reducing the number of boxes coming inside the data center, right? So if I use standard 12 fiber cable, or if I use 144 fiber cable, which can serve me connecting multiple servers, definitely it is going to overall impact in my sustainability process, right? So high fiber count is definitely is going to help. And when you use 8 or 16 fiber MPO, it is the 100% efficiently utilized infrastructure, right? And by saying all these things, latency is one of the key factor, because when we have these kind of high performance devices, you can't have high latency. You need to be very, very low latency kind of infrastructure. I remember NVIDIA CIO in recent presentation, he mentioned very clearly, you need to have very high performance fiber optic and cabling system to connect these devices, because it is equally important. These cables are very equally important to connect these devices. What we are talking about, GPUs and all those things, right? So that's where, and there are a lot of options available, and we are also talking about the very small form factor connector to deploy in these DCs, so that you can save a lot of rack space. And also one of the major challenge in the DC is the dust, environmental conditions, right? So we are also in development of expanded beam optics, where you don't need to clean the connector. It will really help to reduce any kind of errors because of the environmental conditions in the. So these are the, so we have options where you can upgrade from any speed to any speed, right? So, and if you see, if this is the cluster, where do I fit? Yes, because the pathway is also another important thing. You can't have the standard way of designing the pathway for these kind of high performing cables, right? You need to have proper pathways, proper cabling system, and when you have very high dense network, you need to have dedicated ODF frames. So there are a lot of options available. We have booth available. We can talk about more in detail. We have displayed some of the products there. Please do visit there. And I was talking about sustainability, and as a CommScope, we are very highly focused on sustainability. So what product, what raw material we are using, we also give the environmental product declaration, how we are supporting to these data centers to have the sustainability, right? And also sustainability is not only from the product side, it is also optimizing the design, how we can optimize and reduce the number of cables, etc., which will really overall help in terms of the sustainability, right? So that's it from my side. If you have any question, I am around. If you want to have look and feel of the products, please do visit CommScope booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Avinash Dharmadhikari to join us on the stage to felicitate Mr. Sorari. Thank you, sir.